I'm Kevin Casey. I'm a professional mixed martial arts fighter. And right now what I'm about to do is issue a warning out to all other competitors.
I don't want overs. I just expect them to happen.
Fatty's gonna fatty is real.
He is terrible!
You gotta know how many wieners are going down these dudes' throats.
I'm gonna go quick because I don't give a fuck about anything that's gonna happen on Saturday.
Hello, Wes.
As you can tell, no Jay this week. So the shitty hosting, it's going to be a little rough to this week, but I'll do what I can. Obviously, we're here with the beautiful Kentucky Sodsman. How you doing today, Wes?
Not too bad. Thursday night we got a couple screens rolling with some football, so that's never a bad thing. Yeah, looking forward to talking some fights. Probably a little more about last week's card than this week's card, which should be a pretty fast breakdown, if you want to call it that. But yeah, man, how's things going up in that lovely northern land of yours, man?
Oh, that's all right. I mean, it's summer's gone. It didn't really even exist here. We had one day of 30-degree plus weather, which, let's see what the old calculator says. That's Fahrenheit. That's 86. So we had one day of 86 degrees plus weather. And, like, usually we'll get, like, a couple weeks of that. But it was just a trash summer. Rained when it's usually a drought here. So it was just all kinds of shittiness. But, yeah, I mean, everything's ramping up. We got football into the swing, into the third week, and preseason hockey's starting. So yeah, I'm getting excited.
I thought I saw that on ESPN app tonight. They got some preseason going on.
Yep. It's another just excited to be disappointed again this year. You know how I do. But
is our boy up there, the new king up there, is he healthy this year?
So he's not 100% healthy. He kind of fucked up his knee right at the very end of last year, and they didn't have to do surgery. He just had to rehab it. So he's kind of taking it easy, but even him at a little bit under 100% is still unreal. So I fully expect him to still get 110, 120 points and lead the league this year, and we're still gonna miss the playoffs. So my team of choice is trash. So what can you do?
Yeah, it's tough, man. Especially when you got you just waste a talent like that. Man.
And like the shitty thing is like. I obviously follow a lot of people in hockey and stuff like that, and a lot of bloggers, and they're just like, it's so sad that he's wasting away, and I'm just like, I know, all right, like I know, like I get to watch him, but like I know we're fucking this up, and I'm just watching it happen. It's like watching a car crash happen. It's not great, but what can you do?
Yep, that's sports, man. Yeah, you live and die with that shit. It's crazy.
Yeah, not much you can do about it. You just gotta enjoy the ride, and hopefully it's not too terrible.
Yeah.
So we got reminded of how trash MMA fans are today with all kinds of terrible questions that were asked during the press conference between Diaz and Masvidal. Pretty much a waste of time, but I mean, it was worth it to see Masvidal in that suit. That shit was fire.
Man. Yeah, dude, look, this guy, he's probably taking a place in it's getting up close to that top 5, man. That stunt he pulled tonight, like that's what we miss in the fight game, man. It's just little shit like that. You ain't got to be like Conor all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like you can get a following being just kind of real, man, but. Yeah, I didn't get to see much of the press conference trying to get home and shit, but was kind of following on Twitter, and I heard it was kind of a shit show with the questions and shit. You knew it was not gonna be like must-see shit with those two guys. It's just never going to be that. But I heard it was kind of just like maybe the schmo was out there asking every single question, and we know how fucking dumb that is.
I think that the questions were much worse than what the schmo probably would have offered. So it's bad when. Yeah. I expect this fight is just going to be unreal. The lead up isn't going to be much because these guys both respect each other. They're not going to shit talk each other and trash each other. So, I mean, it's just good to see them get shine, and yes. I mean that fight's little over a month away. It's kind of crazy.
That was a good thing, I think, too, because you didn't need or want a long build up to this. I think that could have maybe taken away from it a little bit, because you know what you're gonna get out of these two guys. This is just one of those fights that I'm buying. I don't need to be sold on this. This is everything we want. I think it's going to end up being a really good fight too. Like a lot of those kind of fights don't live up to that kind of hype. I just can't see any way that this fight is bad. Not with Nate's just hard to be in any kind of bad fight.
Unless he's getting wrestled.
Yeah,
but that's not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
Fight,
yeah,
so it's going to be awesome.
Jorge's been in some slow fights, but he not lately. Like when he first got to the UFC, Jorge was kind of known for like starting fast and fading late, and just now he's gotten better too. You can see that all the years he's been fighting, he's absolutely still getting better. So yeah, I think that's going to be a really good fight. I can't wait for it.
Yes, sir. I'm fucking pumped for it. Yep. Other than that, there's not too much going on in the UFC news this week. Dana White did an interview and mentioned that UFC 245 is likely to have 3 title fights, which is kind of crazy. But so Amanda Nunes and GDR are fighting for sure. I'm pretty sure there's a rumored fight between Max and Volkanovski, which is going to be an unreal fight. And then not sure what the last one's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be John Jones. I don't know if it could be the welterweight title fight that kind of got swept aside for the Diaz Masvidal fight, or maybe Cejudo's close to coming back. Any preference for you, Wes?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I want to see Usman and Colby. I don't know if that's going to get done. I know Colby did leave his management and shit, and got some new management. I don't know how much that's going to work for him because he kind of left some guys that have some pull in the UFC. But I mean, that's the fight I want to see. I've been wanting to see that fight for, a long time. I know Dana also mentioned something about that Stipe and DC3 is going to get made. He's just waiting for Stipe to heal up. I don't know if that's going to be true be true or not. We know how Dana throws a lot of shit out there. So, and then how long, how busted up is Stipe. So, and then Cejudo, I know they said end of the year on him when it happened. I'm not sure. Have you read anything about how he's recovering and stuff?
No, you would think with all the bullshit he's putting out, he could give an injury update, but that doesn't seem to be the case. So I don't know. It might be John Jones against Blachowicz. I kind of think it might be because with all the fallout, I just think it's kind of dumb if they could highlight or headline a really solid ESPN card or an ESPN Plus card with the title fight instead of putting 3 on a pay-per-view. You really think that's going to add to it? I mean, I guess if it is John Jones, fair enough. That is going to add a big time amount to it, but I don't know. We see what happens to cards when they just try to stack them so crazily.
It's happening this week.
And then you got a month or 2 months of just absolute shit cards. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. And then as for DC and Stipe, I mean, nobody seemed to really want the second fight, and now it seems like the third fight's going to be forced upon us. So I don't know. It's I'd much rather see Ngannou in there. I don't know what the hell they're going to do with him now, because there's nobody really for him to fight. He's just kind of waiting, and obviously it seems like Stipe and Cormier is going to be the next fight up, but I don't know. Cormier hasn't really come out and said that he's for sure back and coming to fight, so I guess we'll wait and see.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. I still say the DC fights again. I'm just not positive yet that it's going to be Stipe. There's only two men that he's going to fight, but we'll see. I'd much rather see him and Bones fight again.
Yeah, like that's the one that he wants. Like, I know he lost at heavyweight, but Bones is his real rival, but whatever. I guess we'll see. I don't know. Yep. It's not one that excites me too much, but of course I'll watch if it happens. So we can move on to last week's card. It was a pretty good card. There was lots of action on there, some pretty fun fights, even if they went to a decision. So Vancouver got a pretty damn good fight card. I guess I'll start on the prelims. I'll split it up into two. The first fight of the night, Austin Hubbard defeats Kyle Prophylactic by unanimous decision, 29-28. Friend of the MMA analysis, Luis Smolka comes out throwing heat and takes out Ryan McDonald in the first round, 4 minutes and 43 seconds. Chaz Skelly beats Jordan Griffin by decision, 29-28 on all three scorecards. What do you got, Wes?
Yeah, the Hubbard fight, and that just kind of happened. Smoka, that was just absolutely insane. I think that guy's gotten pretty good, man, as he's gotten his life together. He's definitely he's a better fighter. Exactly. We've watched it go to one extreme to somebody's favorite leprechaun. So Smoka, he looked great, man. That was awesome to see. The Skelly Griffin fight was a fun scrap for a decision. Skelly hung in there tough and got a deserved decision.
Yeah, Luis Smolka looked good in this. I mean, it's hard to know what this means, but just what he was throwing so many body shots, body kicks, body punches, just switching it up. Good to see from him, and then hopefully he gets a bit of a step up here. And then, that Chaz Skelly Jordan Griffin fight was a bit of a mess. I know people were freaking out on Twitter for why is Jordan Griffin trying to wrestle and grapple with Chaz Skelly when he's basically a zombie on the feet after he's tired. But
it got sloppy, didn't it?
Oh man, I had Chaz Skelly by sub for half a unit at about plus, what did I have? Plus 350. That seemed close in a the first round. Well, it was kind of not really, but the third round there was a couple spots there where I thought he was gonna sink it in, but no dice. What can you do? I guess good win for Skelly, but that guy is in trouble if he doesn't snatch up that sub quick, and the guy can keep it on the feet because, like I said, he is a zombie. Next up, we got Hunter Azure defeats your favorite fighter, absolute terrible fake him. Brad Katona. Unanimous decision. You got 130-27 in there, 229-28. Miles Johns defeats Cole Smith, split decision. Not sure why that was a split decision. I thought it was fairly straightforward, 29-28. And then a guy that I lost money on, I'm not sure if you did, but I guess Sakai knocks out a absolute fat Marcin Tybura 1 minute into the first round.
Yeah, I fucking knew I was gonna get Katona, man, and I got that motherfucker. I was a little worried about some hometown judging, man, just from what I was seeing on Twitter and shit, man. There was some people scoring this shit for Katona. I was
wild.
I mean, it had me worried, and then I was glad to see that maybe the curse was kind of broken with the judging up in Canada. because they gave it to the rightful guy, got a nice dog price there, and Katona's just he seems like he's got skills though. You know what I'm saying? Like it, just seems like maybe he should get to a better gym. You know what I'm saying? Because it seems
somebody
like
who can put his skills together and not just kind of be one dimensional depending on where the fight is.
Exactly, because it seems like he's got the pieces, they're just not going together right, and that could be coaching, man. Miles John, they got a little bad there, but and then I lost money on Tabura, and he looked bad, man. Like I didn't really notice it at weigh-ins or anything. I just kind of shoot through those and just look at them stepping on and then the face downs and shit, and I didn't really notice it, man. And holy shit, when he got in there swinging, that shit was flying. That was still kind of surprising, man. I didn't really never think much of Sakai, but that dude hits like a truck. I mean, he really does. So it's heavyweights. That shit can happen.
Well, especially when you're not defending at all and the guy's teeing off on your temple.
Yeah.
We shit on judges a lot, rightfully so. I thought that was pretty damn good judging in that Hunter Azure fight. Yeah. Because I feel like in past years with what Katona was doing, just like stalling, just holding on, not doing anything, he would probably still get some of those scorecards, but he was doing literally nothing offensively, like just literally holding them against the fence. And when it was separated, Azure was teeing off on him and flipping him and stuff. So yeah, you got to give props to those judges. It seemed like they got it right, even in Canada with a Canadian fighter. So that's extra awesome to see. Yeah, no, I don't have anything on the Johns fight. And I still, same with you. I don't think Sakai is that good. He was just punching a pylon, and the pylon fell down because that's what happens when a 260-pound guy punches a guy like 12 times with no defense. On to the main card. We can break each one of these downs individually just because of the upcoming trash card. So this was a bit surprising. Well, I guess not surprising, but I think you might have got this one a bit wrong, and I was a bit worried about this. But Cirkunov, Peruvian neckties, Jimmy Crute.
Yeah. I think that was. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, I was telling you to go ahead.
I think that was only like the second or third Peruvian necktie ever to be pulled off.
Yeah, CB Dalloway's got one of the other ones, which is random as hell.
Yeah, but I think it was a good finish, and props to Cirkunov, but it was still, was really, and it was really like, it's almost the definition of a fluke when it's only happened a couple times in the history. But I mean, props to him for getting it. Crute was, literally a punch or two from winning that fight. A couple punches, and the ref is stopping that fight at one point. And then when right before Cirkunov pulled off that choke, Crute he didn't use his leverage right. He literally put too much weight on one side, and Cirkunov did the easiest of sweeps on him. And like I said, up for the sub though, that was absolutely a beautiful sub. But I think I'm right on Jimmy Crute though. I think that dude's good, man. He's just really, really young, and he made a mistake that a young fighter in the biggest spot of his life, in the biggest fight of his life, can make sometimes. I still think he's going to be pretty good, man. He showed quite a bit in that fight to me, and saying props to Cirkunov, but Cirkunov still just got a lot of problems, man. If he can't get, he even got Crute down, you know what I'm saying? And Crute was fucking getting up and shit. So Cirkunov's like, I still think he's a fade in the right spots, man. But, props to him, and it's hard to feel bad for him winning this fight with, if you've seen the the stuff him and his wife's been through with breast cancer and stuff over the past amount of time. It's hard to feel bad for him even when you lose money against him.
Yeah, for sure. I gotta agree with you. I think this is a pretty impressive loss on the Jimmy Crute side. Might even help us get a better line next time on him, because he, you see those like win probability when you can get those like on different sports. They'll basically show like what the chances are of the person winning a time. Like it was probably at like 98% when he was
a puncher too. He was a puncher
so
too.
Done. He was so done. Like I'm surprised. Like most times, I think in the past he would have quit there, but he didn't, and was able to snatch that random submission. But yeah, impressive from Crute. He was able to reverse Serkinov on the ground. That's a huge guy to be able to get up and reverse it and power out of a lot of those things. So
a lot of guys ain't been able to do that. You know what I'm saying? There's been
Serkinov. That is Serkinov's world, and he was able to get out from there, and that's pretty damn impressive. So yeah, maybe we'll get a better line on old Jimmy Crute next time because of this loss, because he was damn close to winning and showed some pretty damn good skills. Next up, you cashed a nice dog, and I lost some money on this one. Uriah Hall defeats Antonio Carlos Jr. by split decision, 29-28, 28-29, 29-28.
Man, what just a bloody fight though, man. That there was a kind of, they did a slow motion during the fight, like they're going to a break where blood, it almost looked like a movie or a video game or something.
Like a blood clot flying out of his mouth or his nose.
Dude, it was wild, man. And props to Uriah, dude. I mean, Shoeface even stayed in the fight though. I think I know he gassed out hard. We kind of knew what he was gonna do, but I mean, Uriah, he stays in there tough now, man. I think the guy, I used to think he was kind of a quitter and would find ways out, you know what I'm saying, when he couldn't starch a dude early. And the guy takes a beating a little bit now and won't go out of fights. And against a guy like Shoeface, man, he had to stay alive and get this deep, and he did. And what'd you say the scorecards were? Because there was a 29-28 for Shoeface as well, right?
Yeah, it was a split, 29-28, 29-28, and 28-29.
Yeah, that's fucking horrendous. That's really, really bad. Uriah Hall definitely won 2 rounds of that fight.
Yeah, I only half-assed watched this one live, and I was like, oh, maybe maybe it's split going into the third, and then I rewatched it like a couple days ago. And I don't know how the hell this was a split decision, because he did get some control, I guess, in the first round, but when he was not in control, he was getting bombed on.
Yeah.
I'm kind of pissed at myself, because Uriah Hall, like, his jab looked really good in that little drunk fight.
Yeah,
he was just firing it like a piston, and he brought that into this fight, and that was really, really impressive. So I thought that Shoeface would have been able to get Uriah Hall down a lot easier and kind of do what he did, but props to you. Nice little plus 220, plus 230, something like that.
235 or something like that. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I think Hall going to Forrest, man, has made a difference. They've gotten him better. Like you said, that jab is something he's found here recently. He's got just really good. He's always had good striking technique and stuff. I just think he kind of found ways out, man. When it got tough, he doesn't do it anymore.
Yeah, and like Shoeface should probably go up to 205. I mean, 205's I think a lot shittier than 185, and then he wouldn't have to cut so much. He probably would have a better gas tank.
They say he doesn't
do a lot
though.
Better.
Like his coaches have tried to say that he really doesn't even have to cut hard to get, and I find that very hard to believe. I
find that hard to believe because he won heavyweight.
Yeah,
fucking tough in Brazil.
Look at him. Look at him at 185. I mean, he's just absolutely fucking jacked, man. I find that hard to believe if he's not having a hard cut. Yeah, he's like probably a prime example of a guy that moves up from 185 to 205 kind of later in their career and probably has a resurgence. He's like, I think I agree with you. He's like a prime candidate for that.
This is Uriah Hall's first 2-fight win streak since 2015.
Wow. I'm telling you, that change of camp has absolutely made a difference. And it ain't like he was at like a horrible camp or anything, but you just sometimes find magic, man.
It's just tough because he didn't look good against Bevan Lewis either. And then he did what he did, of course, knock his ass out when he was losing. So it's Uriah Hall is still
you can't trust him. No. I mean, you're gonna have to still give me 2-1. I mean,
for sure.
Against a lot of guys, there's no doubt about that. I agree with you.
Next fight up, a catch weight because the crazy man couldn't make weight against a lightweight, and then
gave up all the bonus money.
All of the bonus money. Tristan Connolly defeats Michael Pereira by decision 29-28, 29-27, 29-27.
Ooh.
Kind of pissed because we kind of hinted about this. Like, this guy, Pereira, is not a guy that you are laying huge juice on because of who he is. He's a fun guy to watch, and he'll get some crazy ass knockouts, but he's also an extremely, extremely flawed fighter. It's just you'd think he would have enough to beat some random lightweight on 3 days' notice, but we were wrong.
Fucking Timmy Horton's fucking barista.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, look, I actually think Pereira. See, now that he's made it, I think he's doing himself a disservice by going to the extremes with it, because I think he's pretty good. I mean, there was times when he was just throwing some flying knees and stuff early in that fight to where he was banging on Connolly. I mean, he was landing some big stuff. Yep. And then he goes and starts doing backflips and shit that you can be exciting with the flying knees and the flying elbows and shit that are landing. You know what I'm saying?
Just overboard.
He seems like he's a good fighter. I mean, Jesus, he usually makes 170. He's massive for 170, whether it's against Connolly or not. I mean, he's got a lot of advantages and an exciting style, even if he would take out that dumb shit. He's never going to last in a fight, man. Doing that, he is never, ever. I don't care who he's fighting. But that's a bad loss, man. That's a really bad loss. Props to Connolly, but fuck, man. That dude is just tough. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of reminded me of a kind of a lesser Brian Barberina, right? Just a tough guy, keeps coming forward, grinds, wrestles if he needs to.
I'd say a way less Barberina, though, because Barberina's got some skills, man.
Yeah, for sure. Man, Connolly got up to plus 475 at one point.
That's fucking crazy, man. Should have known. Really should have known. Up in Canada, he misses weight. Should have just do a sprinkle on that. Man.
Yeah. You live, you learn. We probably won't ever see Pereira as a minus 500 ever again, but
Connolly getting that 100 G's though is cool as fuck, man. For some guy they pulled off the street on like 5 days notice or something. That's really fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's just a good thing to see when a guy, especially when he fights a guy that doesn't even come in on weight and he's the one that was taking it last second.
Yep.
Up to the awesome heavyweight division. This was going to end well. Todd Duffy versus Jeff Hughes ends in a no contest / quit because Todd Duffy got punched in the eye.
Yeah, dude. Look, I was.
I don't even know if he got punched in the eye. He got pushed away. I mean,
yeah, he took like a little bit of like a knuckle or something, a little bit. But look, that doesn't matter.
Dude, we've seen guys go like almost 2 knuckles deep on a guy's eye, and he fucking continues. This guy.
Yeah, and I mean, I would even be cool if that was the case, but when you're standing there for up to a minute minute and a half, and you're not even blinking. You're not even rubbing your eye. You're just telling them you're seeing double. Like, he didn't blink the whole time. There's no way. There's no fucking way something is wrong with your eye, and you're not over, like, blinking and rubbing it and shit. He just stood there. Like, that dude absolutely quit. He started getting bombed on. Hughes was starting to land on him. He knew what was going to happen. I've said it before, but I try not to say it often, but Todd Duffy quit. That dude pulled an absolute quit job. And after all the shit he talked all week and to pull some shit like that, man, just go back to doing what, I don't know what the fuck Todd Duffy's been doing for the past 4 years, but he should probably go back to it because fighting's just not for him.
Yeah, he fucking went for a takedown, which was crazy. He did have some success early, and then when it kind of the tide started turning, it turned into a quit job. But yeah, let's just it's shitty for guys that are on Jeff Hughes. But I mean, Hughes was in trouble there. But yeah, so it's a rough fight.
It was going to Jeff Hughes. That fight was going to be over fairly quick.
Yeah.
Duffy was. He absolutely wanted out of that fight. He knew what was about to happen.
Yep. On to a consensus winner.
Garage weight.
There we go. The garage weight champion of the world, Glover Teixeira, defeats Nikita Krylov by split decision. 28-29, 29-28, 29-28. Split decision. I guess I'm not surprised. It was a fairly close fight, but ugh.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Glover got 2 rounds of that fight. I don't. What can you do? I was a little worried for a second there. Yeah, Glover being a dog here, man. I think we called this about perfect, man. We knew what Glover everybody pretty much knows what Glover brings to the table, and I mean, I guess Krylov had some moments in there, but I wasn't really worried. Not one time in that fight. Like, really, even Glover got into a tough spot on the mat at one point. I think he might have had him in a choke or something.
Yep.
Yeah, and I mean, I wasn't even really worried, man. Like, Glover fought the prototypical Glover fight, man, and seriously, for this guy to be this age, man, and still putting out performances like he does, like, Glover's going down as a pretty highly ranked light heavyweight, I think. I mean, he got his title shot. He fought against the greatest of all time and lost like all the rest. I think Glover's career would have been just, he'd already be talked about in those terms if he wouldn't have had the visa issues that he had, a decade ago and got to the UFC like he should have. But I mean, the guys fought some of the who's who, man, of the 205 division, and dude's like 40 now and still beating young guys like this, man. And you know what you're going to get out of him every single time. Glover at plus money against, man, a lot of guys in that weight class is a pretty good bet more often than not. And it's nice to cash on him.
Glover's first fight was in 2002.
Yeah, he's a legend, man. He really is.
There's not many guys that are fighting that have been around that long, that have been fighting this long, that are still fighting some kind of young up and comers. It's pretty impressive at 205 that he's kind of stuck around this long. You keep giving him this kind of matchup, and it's a somewhat close fight, but he's still pulling him out with his savvy, his veteran savviness. I was not worried at all about that sub. I was like, oh, awesome. So then when he gets out of this, Glover's going to be on top because Krylov had him in a guillotine. I was just like, this is going to be sweet. I thought Glover would be able to get the finish on the ground, but props to Krylov for fighting out a lot of that stuff. And pumped to get a win on the old consensus bet. On to the main event. I think we all seen this coming.
Yep.
It was glorious to watch. Justin Gaethje knocks out Donald Cerrone. His third straight first round finish. Dude is streaking right now.
Yeah, Gaethje's he's probably got the title for most exciting fighter of a generation, maybe. We've talked about it before. Can't really name a boring round that this guy's ever had. Yeah, I think we kind of called this fight kind of perfect too. I didn't think it would be this fast. I don't think anybody did. Man, to finish Cowboy in that fashion though, still kind of impressive, man. Like most guys don't fucking take out Cowboy that quick. I know Cowboy kind of argued with the stoppage. That stoppage wasn't late or wasn't early. It was actually kind of late. I mean, he took one or two more than he really should have, but yeah, I mean, there's not much really more to say about Gaethje that we ain't said in the past week or so. Just I need Gaethje, Ferguson, and Khabib to start fighting each other, and that's all I care about. Those are three of the best fighters that we've seen in this weight class ever. I don't think that's any bullshit. And any one of those two fighting in a cage is one of the best fights that can be put on right now. So just give me two of those dudes fighting each other, and I'll be very happy.
That hook that he landed that dropped Cowboy was beautiful. He dodged, kind of stepped back the strike from Cowboy, and then just landed it flush. It was a short hook, and he didn't even get all of it, but he got enough of it. Gaethje's making some pretty big improvements in his last couple of fights. I know everybody kind of just thinks that he's taking it easy, going slower, but
he's changed a little.
He's sharpening, man. He's sharpening those skills. He's not just brawling and putting himself in bad situations. He's striking a lot cleaner. But the crazy thing is he's still throwing, the same amount of strikes per minute. He's just not getting landed on, and he's just sharpening all his tools. It's pretty impressive after, kind of losing those two back-to-back fights to Poirier and Alvarez. I think they were back-to-back, but that I think that clued him in that to beat these guys at the top, he can't really just do what he was doing at, World Series of Fighting, just through grit and bombing on people. He actually has to sharpen up his tools, and now he's doing it. So, yeah, I'm very excited. I hope with how Khabib and Tony, the history of it with so many people falling out, just pay Gaethje. Just pay Gaethje to show up, make weight, and just in case, because
there you go.
We know the cursed history of Khabib and Tony, so as a backup, that's an insane backup to have. And I think Khabib would take that fight on a couple of days' notice. I think Tony would take that fight on a couple of days' notice. So I think I really want him to do that. There is the Conor fight out there, but that guy is not a fighter at this point. When he hasn't had a win since 2006, you can't really be counting on him as a fighter.
I wouldn't even. I mean, I know it's saying a lot, and it wouldn't go that way. But how could you even reward Conor with a fight like that at this point? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
Like honestly, from a UFC perspective, that is a dangerous fucking fight. Because if Gaethje fights Conor and knocks him out,
he's damaged goods. That at that point, yeah.
Like that is a bunch of losses that is not very good on his record. And I mean, you could make a big fight out of Conor versus somebody that's outside the top 5. That would be a little bit of an easier fight. Get him back into the swing of things if he wants to, and just seems safer and better for all parties involved. But we know what Conor thinks,
Yeah. Even with, that's the thing with Conor and doing it, that way, even with his losses, he's still got the that I've knocked guys out, and the only dude that's beat me is a dude that, held me down and wrestled me and shit. Yeah, you go running him in
Except
there.
Diaz.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, he did get the rematch win, which how that goes with his fan base, who you're trying to keep around, But yeah, rushing him into a fight, like, even though I don't think he should get a massive fight like that, which, like you said, any Conor fight's going to be, big, of course. But yeah, if he gets knocked out by Gaethje, or even say it's, somehow ends up Tony, or I mean, that's just then that's just that's a bad thing. I'm still wondering what they're gonna do though, man, because all the shit I say about Conor, he's good for the fight game, man. We need Conor around. There's not a lot of big personalities, however you think about him in the sport. So yeah, hopefully the dude gets his shit together. I have a hard time believing that at this point though, myself.
Yeah, and I just would rather try to extend his fight time, his amount of fights. So giving him a bit of a warm up fight before he gets thrown to the absolute wolves again.
Letting him and Dustin fight.
Even that one's sketchy, man.
It is. Yeah, it is. I mean, almost anybody you're gonna match Conor up with, it's gonna have to be somebody like down, man, or it's a risk now. I think like he's just not in a good place, man. There's a lot of hitters at 155, man.
I mean, what about him versus Cerrone? Both coming off losses.
Yeah, that's a big fight. That's one that's probably zero liability to Conor, in my opinion. That's a name that he probably,
like, that's a big name. That's a guy coming off a loss, just like Conor is, but he's still the 5th ranked lightweight.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a good matchup, but we'll see. But yeah, I really hope Gaethje holds out. If he just waits for the winner or gets paid to be the backup just in case something happens, because that dude deserves the amount of joy that he's brought all of MMA.
Yes.
he deserves to be able to sit out a bit and fight the winner of Khabib and Tony.
Damn straight.
Well, on to this weekend.
Don't expect much.
This is gonna be an interesting breakdown from the two of us. I don't know how much you're
Quote,
gonna.
unquote.
I don't know how much you're gonna get from me. You might get a little bit more from Wes. I was scaled back my bets quite a bit on this one to not overextend and just frankly, it's hard to give a shit about a lot of these fights to put in the effort to figure out if there's some value here or not. So with that out of the way, we start out in the lightweight division. I'm pretty sure you thought this might have been a ladies fight because you thought there was 5 of them on this card, and the names of these guys are, you never know. It's Claudio Puelos, I think, versus Marcos Rosa Mariano. Anything here, Wes?
Honestly, man, look, don't lay minus 300 on anybody at this level. Yeah, man, I might just take a lot of dogs on these fights in Toutmaster, but I really don't know how you could put any kind of money on either one of these dudes. So yeah, probably the dog in Toutmaster, just try to make up some points.
Well, yeah, you got to pick the guy, the Street Fighter. It's Dal Sim. That's his nickname. The old 32-year-old Brazilian with 11 fights, and he's 6-5.
Usually those Brazilians are like 45-0 by now. What the fuck's going on?
Yeah, it's that number is high, but Puelo should win this fight, but not worth the time and effort, in my opinion. Next up, 2 fighters that we know, Sijara Eubanks versus Betchy Correia.
Yeah, this is actually one that, I mean, I don't have a lot of breakdown for, but I actually like a side quite a bit. And Eubanks should truck Gaethje here, man. Like, seriously, she should really roll her in this fight. I mean, she looked fairly decent until she gassed hard in her last fight, and Gaethje isn't Aspen Ladd by any means at this point. I like Eubanks quite a bit. I got her on the opener at minus 230 and put her in an open parlay, and it's still open. I haven't found anything to fill it with, but I mean, I think she's still playable at under 3-1. And if you need a parlay piece, she's actually going to roll in this spot.
Yeah, I agree with you. I put Eubanks in a 2-unit parlay. I got her at like minus 260. It's hard not to like her here. There is some sketchiness. It is in Mexico City, and for a fighter that seems to gas, that's not the greatest. But I don't think Gaethje's gonna have any great cardio in this one either. So it might get a little sloppy, and unfortunately it might get a little bit closer with respect to the skills when it gets real sloppy. But yeah, I mean, Eubanks is fighting the much more talented fighters. She looked okay against Aspen Ladd. Gaethje's just not good. It's plain and simple. I mean, she probably should have lost to the gym teacher. She got head kicked by Holly Holm, and she did okay, I guess, against Irene Aldana, but that's just because Aldana is not good, and then she ended up getting armbarred anyway. So, yeah, obviously Eubanks should get it done, but she is Team Rape Irvin, so if she loses. It's probably because of karma. Up to the light heavyweight division, we got the Bear Jew, Paul Craig, that's taking on Vinicius Moreira. Yeah. I'll just say a couple things about this fight. Is I'm having a hard time fading Paul Craig in this fight, and that should absolutely tell you something. You're batshit crazy if you laid any kind of minus 160 or anything on Paul Craig in this fight. I could see maybe taking a little shot at him as a slight dog here if your name's Lance Fishel. But man, I need much more to play Paul Craig against almost anybody. That said, I can't bring myself to fade him here, and that says a lot. So yeah, that's all I got on this one. Yeah, I mean, I wanted to fade the Bear Jew just because of how bad he is, but this guy is very bad as well. 2 jiu-jitsu guys, so that'll probably cancel out, and this is going to be a terrible striking affair, likely. Moreira obviously coming off 2 first-round KOs in losses in the. That's not good. It's not good at all. So. Complete pass for me. I'll pick Moreira, but yeah, even at those tiny odds against the Bear Jew, who is a complete fraud, I'll let it go. What should be a pretty fun fight up in down in the flyweight division. Sergio Pettis down at flyweight again after he was at bantamweight, while the flyweight division was put on hold because of Dana White and being an idiot. Has taken on Tyson Nam, who surprisingly has never fought in the UFC in his long career.
Yeah, he's been around forever. I believe he's 34, 35 now. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. He's never got the call up. Yeah, I think just this is almost kind of one of those horse racing terms here to where Sergio Pettis is really dropping in class here, man. He's fighting a guy that's, even though he's a vet of a lot of fights against some decent dudes over his career, Tyson Nam is not the past 4 or 5 guys that Sergio Pettis has competed against. And even though I think Pettis should get this done, man, I have a really hard time laying over 3-1 on Sergio Pettis here. It's just that line seems just a little too steep. I'd like to see how he rebounds from a couple losses here before I lay any money on him. But I think he gets it done here in a pretty easy decision.
I'm usually up for fading Sergio Pettis. I just have never got the hype. I don't think he's very good at all, and recently it's worked out for me. But it's tough to take Tyson Nam in this. I think, like you said, this is a pretty big step down for Sergio Pettis. The thing I like in this fight, I took Go's decision. I got it at minus 215. I put it in that Eubanks parlay, so it's a 2-unit parlay at plus 101. Tyson Nam is tough. So is Sergio Pettis. I think this sails to a decision, and Sergio Pettis likely wins a fairly simple, easy decision. Ooh, next up, the second of 4 ladies fights in the women's strawweight division. We got something called Ariane Carnelossi is taking on Angela Hill. I know who that girl is.
Yeah, I don't know much about this Brazilian chick. I know Angela Hill is just not very good at this point, man. I really have no idea here, man. This Brazilian girl's got some finishes over some chicks with some decent records. I've seen a couple clips of her, and she, some highlights from shout out to the dude Mr. Honky that finds a lot of these. Yeah, I mean, she looks like a finisher, but I can't trust her with a bet. But man, if you're laying some juice on Angela Hill, there's other places to lay your money. So pick could probably be the Brazilian girl here at a dog price. But fuck, it's a coin flip, man. I have no idea.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. This should actually be a decent fight, considering that the Brazilian is a stand-up striker, and usually the more boring Angela Hill fights are when girls take her down and lay on her and stuff like that. So we should see a fair amount of somewhat medium level striking in this fight. And yeah, I didn't even play Go's decision. I think this is, or I don't think I did. No, not in this one. So I expect this one to go decision, but I didn't want to play the juice. Like you, I'll probably pick the dog here. She's probably much more powerful, and when Angela Hill gets hit with actually some power, then it kind of shuts her down a bit. So yeah, I'll take the Brazilian. Next up in the featherweight division, Marco Polo Reyes takes on Kyle Nelson.
There's a hope. There might be a hope.
Is that because there's a Greek fraud on one of these fighters?
Who did he end up on? I didn't catch that.
He's on Kyle Nelson.
Oh man, I'm glad I hadn't bet it. I was thinking about it. I mean, you gotta like Kyle Nelson in this spot.
Yeah.
Fuck, I was thinking about betting him, but I'll probably have to pass now. Fuck that motherfucker, man. Yeah, I liked him a whole lot more at around even money that he was, I think, a couple days ago. But man, Marco Polo, dude, he's been fun to watch, man. But goddamn, he's starting to add up the damage and the knockouts over his past couple fights, man. Getting up there in age, so you gotta like the younger, fresher fighter. Even though his last loss was kind of a bad loss, I still think Max Sells is a better fighter than Polo Reyes. So yeah, I like Nelson here, and I was probably gonna add a bet on him, but I doubt that's gonna happen now with old Chiclet Man on him.
Yeah, Marco Polo Reyes he's not very good. He's in exciting fights usually. His last couple have been quick ones. So in his last 4 fights, it's only been out of the first round once. And yeah, he's been knocked out in the first round twice in the last 4 fights, and in the second round in the other one. The miles on him are adding up. Kyle Nelson's okay. Unfortunately, he's Canadian, and we know what the status of Canadian MMA is right now. So with that and the chicklets man on Nelson, it's gonna have to be a pass for me. I'll pick Nelson. I think he gets it done, even in the home country of Marco Polo Reyes. But yeah, it's no dice. I'm not putting money on it. If the chicklets and the wise guys cash on Nelson, then good for them. Next up, the main event of the prelim card, we got Jose Quinones versus something called Carlos Huachin.
Jesus, these motherfuckers. How could a football team be as bad as the fucking Titans? Like, seriously.
They're fucking
I
bad.
can't believe my Browns got blown out by them. That's even worse. Like,
That's
Mariota's.
the NFL, man. That is the
It's
NFL.
crazy. It's
You look
insane.
like absolute trash one week. I mean, that was the first week, right?
Yeah.
Was that
first
week 1?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean Jacksonville looked like shit the first week too, especially their defense. It was going against KC, but yeah, the NFL is Jekyll and Hyde all the time. You'll expect something from one team, and then they're just trash the next.
Minshew out here looks like Joe Montana and shit tonight. It's fucking insane. Like, I can't believe we actually bet money on this fucking league. It's insane.
The power of the stash, bro.
How many fucking Mariota's missed fucking Walker in the end zone twice? I mean, Jesus Christ. All right, where the fuck was I here?
Quinones versus Huachin.
Oh, yeah, fuck, dude. All right, is this actually a fight that's happening? It sure fucking is. Yeah, I mean, Quinones had gone on a decent little run, hadn't he? Then ran into
4 straight.
Yeah, then ran into just probably an absolute stud from one of the best fighters that's probably out over there across the pond right now, and Wood. So yeah, I mean, he's still a pretty tough dude. I think I kind of picked this other cat in his last fight, his UFC debut. There's no way that guy's 23 years old. Like, I'll bet you fucking money. That dude's birth certificate says 23 years old. I'll give you $100.
Forgot to carry the 1. He's actually 33.
I'm telling you, that shit is crazy. There is no way, man. Yeah, you gotta pick Quinones in this fight. The line movement is just I don't know. I don't understand. Maybe somebody knows something, but he opened it like minus 250. Yeah, something like that. I don't understand that, man. Where's that line movement coming from off any kind of past performance from this guy? So I don't know. I guess I'm gonna wait and see where this line goes. I mean, if Quinones gets down to even money or something, you almost have to take a small shot, I would think. I mean, he's just the better guy. But we'll see where the line goes. I'm not gonna lay any juice whatsoever, but if it keeps going down, I'm gonna take a little shot.
It's getting close for me.
It's crazy. I just looked at it again. That's wild.
When it comes down over $1, it's especially when this guy did not have a very good showing in his first fight. Obviously, he has a bunch of first-round finishes against guys in Inca Fighting Championships.
Inca
that's right. So I'm gonna have to watch Huachin's fights a bit more before I lay it, but that is getting in range. Quinones is decent. He, like you said, he just ran into a buzzsaw last time out, but I think he's the better fighter. Very perplexing, this line movement, but no play at this point, but obviously the pick is Quinones. On to the main card. In the featherweight division, Martin Bravo takes on Steven Peterson.
Yeah, this is a weird fight too, man. I don't know where they're coming up with some of these matchups for this card,
Just
man.
throw it in a blender.
It makes no fucking sense. But yeah, this seems like two fairly even guys, but I don't think much of Peterson, man, but I just think he's fought a little better competition and been in bigger spots. It's not something I'm betting at this point, but if I'm bored, come around the main card, I might toss a couple bucks on Steve Peterson. I don't think he's great or anything, but you usually know what you're going to get with him. Him gassing out against Caceres is kind of worrisome, but man, who the fuck is Martin Bravo, really, dude? Peterson just a little bit better guy. No bet as of right now, but might throw something small on him. He'll definitely be the pick for me.
So here's what the UFC did. They looked up who the fuck is fighting. Oh, both these guys just lost to Alex Caceres.
Let's put them together.
Let's put them together. See what happens.
That's exactly it. I guarantee fucking to you.
I didn't bet Steven Peterson in that fight, but like I was close to. I was like, how is he gonna lose to Alex Caceres? Caceres is not good, and he found a way to lose. That is not a good look. You would think with his toughness, and he's got a bit of skill, he thought it would be enough, but yeah, it wasn't. But yeah, I don't think Bravo is good either. I'm kind of staying away from that. He
lost to fucking that dude.
Yeah.
Like it's
he also got knocked out by Bandonnet in the first round. So Christ. Peterson's definitely the tougher guy. Maybe he'll be able to out-grit Martin Bravo. I don't want either side of this fight. I did put fight goes to decision in a parlay, in a 1-unit parlay. It was minus 185 when I bet it. Both these guys are tough, especially with Steven Peterson. So both these guys, tons of decisions. So I'll take that prop and I'll pick Steven Peterson, but hopefully it's fun. That's all I can hope for. The second to last women's fight of the night in the women's bantamweight division, we got Irene Aldana versus something called Vanessa Mello. Is that Carmelo's chick from Side Piece or something? What's going on?
One of the chicks he cheated on a girl with at some point.
Yeah, on his trip down to Brazil, he picked up a side piece.
Yeah, I'm not saying much on this. This just seems like kind of a setup fight for Aldana down in Mexico. The line says it. She's up to minus 600 now, which is fucking laughable. Do not lay minus 600 on Aldana, but she should absolutely roll here. Yeah, Aldana should roll. I put goes to decision on parlay in that Steven Peterson parlay. I got it at minus 190. So I got 1 unit at plus 135. The Mellow chick has been to a decision 12 of her 14 total fights, or no, 12 of 15. And Aldana's been to a decent amount of decisions as well. So hopefully Mellow can withstand the little bit of a beating that Aldana's probably going to put on her. Don't care. This fight should be pretty fun. Back in the flyweight division, we got some actual flyweight fights. Look out. Brandon Moreno, off his one fight release from the UFC, is taking on Askar Askarov. Yeah, he was doing grappling bouts and shit. Yeah, I guess this was just kind of one of the releases when Dana White was drunk one night and decided to cut a division. This should be fun. I still don't think much of Moreno. I think he got hyped up quite a bit off of some decent wins, I guess early on, coming off of tough. But Askarov, man, he's been in the deep end over in ACB, and I kind of rate that promotion high, man. When you see guys come from over there, gotta favor him against Moreno here in what should be a fairly fun fight, like you said. I need to see him over here first. I can't lay juice on the guy. And another thing we haven't really talked about is this shit's in Mexico City, man. So we haven't really touched on the elevation and shit. Now a lot of guys have made it over there. One in particular that I really like has been over there for like a month. And I think that matters a lot. I'm not sure how long Askarov has been over. Plus, he's got to fly around the world at that elevation. It's hard to lay any kind of juice on that. I want to see a fight first, but I'm going to pick him in the spot. I just think, like I said, those guys coming from over there all seem to be highly skilled when the UFC signs them. So it's a close fight, though. Pick is Askarov, and we'll see what Moreno's got in his fight back to the UFC.
Yeah, I think it's probably a pretty close fight. I expected the line to be a tiny bit closer, but Askarov is undefeated. He's never went to a decision, so that's a pretty pretty impressive thing when it comes to flyweights. He doesn't fight that much. His last fight was in May of 2018. He only had one fight in 2017. And then finally he had 3 fights in 2016. But yeah, 2 fights in the last 3 or 2.5 years. That's a bit concerning if you're going to be backing Askarov. Moreno, I agree with you, Wes. He kind of got hyped up a bit, and I think that was kind of around the time that they were trying to pump up the Mexican market. Yep. He does have some skills. He's kind of fun on the ground, so I think this will be a pretty decent fight. But like you said, it's in Mexico. These guys might gas a bit, and I think the grapplers and guys looking for subs are going to struggle a bit more with kind of how sweaty everybody's going to get and sloppy it's going to be. So I'll pick Askarov, and probably, I mean, he hasn't gone to a decision, so it's hard to see that happening. But Moreno's pretty tough, so this could be the time where he can outlast and it goes to a decision. I don't know what that prop is. I'm going to look right now just because I got a little bit of time here. So Askarov by decisions plus 235. So that might be something to look at, but nothing for me. On to the co-main event. Oh, and a hell of a barn burner we got. We got the final ladies fight of the night in the women's strawweight division. Carla Esparza taking on Alexa Grasso. Yeah, I think I think this is. I know her last fight probably was. This is going to be the coming out one for Grasso. I never have been sold on her. I mean, she lost Felice back. The Marcos fight. Suarez beatdown is a Suarez beatdown. She'll do that to any woman. But man, look, I don't think Carolina is. She's definitely on not on her better days anymore. But that was really impressive, the performance that Grasso put on in that fight. And man, I think anything close to that, and she's probably gonna piece Carla up pretty bad here, man. Carla's just she's not what she was, man. I have no clue who the chick was that she beat last time. I didn't even bother looking it up. Just figured. Oh, you talking about Jandaroba?
Yeah, I just figured it was the same way Carla usually wins any kind of unanimous decision. But man, at 31, I think Carla's just she's on the back end of her career too, and Grasso's just. She's the younger, fresher fighter and the one that they want to showcase here on this Mexico City card. And I think they gave her a really good matchup against still a pretty decent name in the women's division. And I think Grasso at minus 125 is just a very good bet at this point. There's not much on this card, and this is one of the 2 spots that I really, really like. Not as much as my other one, but I like Grasso quite a bit, and for somebody that's never really been sold on her up until last time, that's kind of saying something. I think she kind of turned the corner, and this is a really good matchup for her. So I bet her.
She looked very impressive against Koala Bear last time out. I don't know if that was just a one-time deal. I guess we're gonna see if that was her turning the corner, like you said, or maybe that was just a good matchup against a fighter that's kind of 1 foot out the door. Carla Esparza is kind of the same chick that she's always been. She has improved her striking a tiny bit. It was hard not to improve it because of how bad it was. I like Grasso in this fight. I can't remember how good her wrestling was because I think Esparza's gonna go for takedowns if she can, and we'll see if Grasso can stuff them and then strike on her feet. I'm gonna do a little more tape study and see if I think Grasso can stuff those, because if she can and if she shows the same striking acumen that she had in her last fight, I think she will win a fairly easy decision, like you said. So if that's the case, I might have to put some money on Grasso, and yeah, she's obviously the pick right now. On to the main event. In the featherweight division, Yair Rodriguez coming off an absolute fucking Hail Mary win with 1 second left in the fight that absolutely crushed us, Wes, as we were watching in attendance. And he's taking on Jeremy Stephens.
Yeah, that entire crowd, and including us, were fucking everybody went silent all at once. It was kind of a weird kind of place to be in at that moment in time, but yeah, that was a crazy fight, a crazy finish. But I don't know, I think we kind of saw a little bit in that fight of what we could see in this one. I'm still not just sold on Yair. I know he always kind of got the hype, and they fed him to Frankie like idiots that they do a lot. We just made tremendous amounts of money on that fight. But I never really was sold on him up until then. I thought he was just a lot more flash than he ever was substance. He's got had a few decent wins. But I mean, Korean Zombie was just rolling in that fight, man. I don't see how Stephens couldn't kind of do the same thing here. Just the pressure and the power that he brings, I think, is going to be a problem for Yair. It's hard to be fancy against Stephens, man. You got to be a really more technically sound guy, and I mean, outside of your Zabbits of the world. I hate to even put Yair in any kind of same sentence as Zabit. But yeah, I just think this is kind of a bad matchup for Yair, man. Guys, that's gonna be in his face, and he's gonna have to respect what Stephens is throwing at him. I'm actually kind of surprised this is as close of a fight. Maybe people are kind of playing into the fact that it's in Mexico City and pretty much a home fight for Yair. But I mean, Stephens, I talked about it earlier. He's been down in Mexico City for like over a month now, which I love to see that for having my money on him. And
training with Ferguson too.
Yeah, it's just everything you want to hear. All good signs pointing to Stephens here, and man, maybe I'm wrong. This is just one of those where you're gonna have to show me I'm wrong. They opened Stephens at plus 120, which I thought was just kind of crazy. I thought he would be like a minus 150, minus 160 fave here. I'm just maybe not seeing something, man. But I hit that. I got a little more on minus 105, and I'm probably gonna take a little more when I go over to the book tomorrow to cash some tickets from last weekend. So Stephens is my biggest bet on a very shallow betting card, and I'm actually I like where my money's at on this card. Prove me wrong that Yair Rodriguez is better than Jeremy Stevens. I don't believe it.
Yeah, I gotta repeat most of what you say. I really like Stevens here. His forward pressure is gonna be very, very important in this fight. Yair doesn't do well. And yeah, we saw, I mean, in that Korean Zombie fight, if it goes 1 second longer, Korean Zombie wins that fight 4 rounds to 1 on 2 scorecards and 3 rounds to 2 on the other one. He was in complete control, and I think Stevens can do kind of the same thing, and I think Stevens has even more power than the Korean Zombie. So there's not much more to say. I mean, Stevens, like I said, he is everything you want to see in a fighter, taking this as seriously as possible, goes there way ahead of time because he knows he's got to go 5 rounds in a place that's just way, way higher than even it's like more than a mile high. It's higher than Denver.
Yep.
And you got to worry about like the air quality and all that shit. So he's down there training with Ferguson, which is really that's got to help you a ton.
Who could be better? Yeah, who could be better to train with?
So, I mean, it is possible Yair could pull out some crazy shit. He has in the past, but the difference in these guys who they've fought is pretty crazy. If you take out the Chan Sung Jung knockout, Yair Rodriguez's best win is Andre Fili from 3 years ago. That is not the Andre Fili from a couple months ago. Stevens doesn't have the greatest record, but he's fucking beat some pretty decent fighters. So I know there's a pretty big age gap here, but I still think Stevens is in this game. He's committed, and I think he knocks out Yair Rodriguez probably later in the fight. I haven't touched his inside the distance prop, but I have 2 units on him at -106, and I'm contemplating adding another unit. I just think this is a very good style matchup for him. That being said, I've been very wrong on a lot of main events, so I mean it could happen, but I'm putting my money where my mouth is, so we'll find out on Saturday. And that's going to be our consensus bet of the week. Jay likes Stevens as well, so it's kind of unanimous. Jeremy Stevens at -115 at Dimes right now. You can get it even cheaper at a bunch of other places. So, we all like Jeremy Stevens. I think he gets out of there impressively.
I like it.
Yes, sir. Next week we will be back, I think. Yeah, September.
Oh, yeah, like 12 weeks in a row or some shit.
We're back every fucking week. So next week is they're fighting in Denmark.
Ooh.
The Joker, Hermansen, is fighting the Alaskan Black Jew in Jared Cannonier.
Yeah, and guess what? Take a little bit of that dog money, boys and girls. I'm telling you.
Yeah, this fight card should actually be pretty damn fun. You got Cowboys on the fight card, Michael Candy, Cute Labia,
Burns and Gunner. Damn.
Roundtree, Burns and Gunner. It's Nardia versus
Holy shit.
Venata versus
against
yeah.
Cute Labia against Roundtree. Oh my god.
Yeah, there should be some violence. I'm not sure what time this card's going to be on. I'm guessing it'll be in the afternoon, so that'll be an interesting.
Diakese? Fuck. Yep. That card's all kinds of fun, dude.
Yeah, Brandon Davis versus Chikadze. There's
that dude John Phillips at fucking Madman.
Yep.
This is a fun card. Yeah.
Yep. This is how random European cards should be. Lots of fun. Doesn't have to have the biggest names, but there's even some names on this card. So yeah, Denmark. Denmark's in for a treat. Man.
I like him in that fight, man. I've actually been eyeing that line for a while now.
Yeah,
I don't kind of understand it, man. I know Hermansson's got some height, but
Yes, sir. We know how those can go sometimes. So
yes, sir.
we will be back next week. I'm sure Jay will be back to hosting duties, so I can make less of a fool of myself. And yeah, we'll be back next week. Enjoy the fights.